Hi there. In this video, we're talking about making a change in your speech and speech therapy. This is an important message about the following content. Please pause and take some time to review. Let's start off with what we mean when we say clear speech. Clear speech is generally the goal of speech therapy. Speech is how we say sounds and words and includes the accuracy, coordination, sequencing, smoothness, and forward movement of sounds. Your speech language pathologist will guide you on the specific details of your speech. Speech is a motor skill and is about motor movements. It's not just about thinking and behaving. We want clear speech to be automatic, meaning you don't think about the planning or coordination or sequencing of movements required. And finally, there are many steps involved in using clear speech in conversation. We call this the speech stairs. We'll talk about this later on. Deciding to make a change in your speech is the first step. What it takes to make that change depends on what you want to accomplish or what clear speech means to you. For the most part, we know that practice is an important part of learning any new motor skill. Let's think about what it takes to consistently sink a three-pointer in basketball. You have to learn how to hold the ball, flick your wrist, throw it high enough and far enough, and then you probably have to practice sinking it from different angles of the court. Then you have to be able to hit those shots in a game with the other players, pressure of the clock, and the audience's noise. Speech is similar. It's a motor skill, and there are many steps involved in practicing and getting it right. We can break speech down by three sets of steps: how you're speaking, when you're speaking, and who you're speaking with. It's helpful to think of it like an actual staircase you're trying to climb up. We generally start at the bottom and go to the top. How we talk goes from sounds to conversations. These steps are generally predictable and the same for all speakers. You might be able to place yourself on one of these steps. For example, you can say the L sound by itself, but make mistakes in conversation. Think about this like learning what a basketball is at the bottom to sinking a three-pointer during a game at the top. The next set of stairs describes who we're speaking with. These steps are often individualized and depend on the specific person. There are occasionally trends. For example, it's easiest to use clear speech with someone who's familiar to you, like your parent or your best friend, and it becomes more challenging with a stranger, like at a restaurant or in the library. This is kind of like home court advantage. The last set of stairs describes when we're speaking. Again, these steps are often individualized and depend on the specific person. An example might be it's easiest to use clear speech when you're comfortable and becomes more challenging when you're nervous. Similarly, it might be easiest to use clear speech when you're rested and becomes more challenging when you're tired. Your SLP will ask you to practice outside of the therapy session, and there are a couple reasons for that. One, to get to the highest step and use clear speech confidently and automatically, you may need to change the topics of conversation, people you're speaking with, and situations you're speaking in. The other is for repetitions. While it's difficult to determine what each individual speaker needs or how they'll respond to therapy, the research tells us that it can take up to 35,000 repetitions or attempts to go from the sound step to the conversation step. Simply put, more speech practice outside of therapy means less therapy overall and clearer speech in conversations. In many situations, your SLP might get you started and then pass it to you to keep practicing, kind of like this alley oop. No matter where you are in your journey to clear speech, always ask yourself what it means to make a positive change in your speech. How would you answer that question right now? Maybe you'll feel more confident in talking to people, or maybe people will ask you to repeat yourself less often. Whatever making a positive change means to you, Write it down. Writing it down and keeping track of your progress is a really effective way to help your speech become more automatic. Watching this video is a good start in making a change in your speech. Your SLP will have more specific ideas about your goals. The one thing we will say right now is practice, practice, practice. Just like syncing those 3 pointers, clear speech takes practice to become automatic. So, what does practice look like? First, you should have a clear plan of what you're working on, which you'll determine with your SLP. It may be helpful to repeat the exact instructions your SLP gives you to make sure you have it right when you practice on your own. Your SLP might give you handouts or other resources. Your SLP will guide you on how to practice, for example, 5 to 10 minutes a few times a week, or talking to 2 unfamiliar people a week. And then you'll have to remember to actually do it. It can be helpful to add practice to a routine of something you already do, like brushing your teeth or going to hockey practice. You can also think about speech practice on days that have an N in it, for example. Write a note to yourself or put a reminder in your phone. We've talked about different things that go into making a change, but are you not quite sure if you're ready to change your speech? Here are 4 things that might help you make that decision. Ask yourself, what do you want out of speech therapy? Make a pro and cons list about making a change versus not making a change. Decide what you want to accomplish at this point in time and what clear speech looks like to you. Think about, why is clear speech important to you right now and in the future? Talk about these things with an SLP or important people in your life. Change should happen when you're ready and it's important to you. Changing your speech might not be a goal for you right now, and that's okay. If you have any questions about making a change, please talk to your SLP or an important person in your life. Thanks for watching.